This Homebrew Wednesday is brought to you by Toronto Brewing Company. Brew beer, drink beer.
So, we meet again, huh? Figured I'd take you out to something I have over here. Now, although it doesn't make sense to pick apples to make cider, because you can use cider from a jug much easier, I do live right next door to a apple orchard, which, although these trees don't really help me all that much, that little barn down there with the red roof, which is full of nice cider for a reasonable price, is a suitable place for me to have nice and close out here in the countryside. So yeah. My name is Pare. This channel is going to be all about the, different drinks, the different beverages, to have in your liquor cabinet or your little stash down in the man cave. I'm basically doing all of this so that I have a little stash down in my man cave. This channel is going to be as much about bottling your liquor in the right bottle as the type of liquor or beer that we're making. And I know it's not legal to make certain liquors through distillation, but there are other ways to make moonshine and stuff like that, specifically not using a distiller and the condenser and all that crap. So later in the fall, when the apples are ripe and it makes sense to do a video, we're gonna do a big video on cider, making apple, like all kinds of apple stuff, stuff that'll complement the nice videos that we're taking when these trees are just full of juicy apples. So yeah. So what's been happening in my brewing? I am on week 1 of my secondary fermentation. So this Wednesday will be the end of week 1, and next Wednesday will be the end of week 2. So if I'm hasty, I will have something in next week's Homebrew Wednesday. This week we're being patient. I have a couple of Carlings in the fridge, and they go down easy. It might be water beer to many of you, but that's where I am in my taste palette. And that brings me to that subject of being unique on YouTube. You'd say to yourself, well, come on, this is what we talk about. We don't want people to be drinking water, we want beer that has taste. Well, I really don't like your beer, yo. I'm sorry. This is who I am. This is me. And what I'm doing on YouTube is as much documenting my revolution of taste, added with the amount of my fussiness, there's lots of people out there like me. I guarantee it. There's lots of people out there like me, and I'm not gonna jump on a bandwagon until I know that I love it. You know, you don't find me jumping on the bandwagon unless I want to lead the horses. So this is as much about my taste profile growing or manipulating this whole craft beer experience to taste good to me. We're gonna try out some crazy recipes, so don't expect all brew all time or all beer all the time. We have a pale ale in the box or in the can, in the pail. We have a pale ale in the pail, and a couple of weeks yet before we get it into bottles. A little bit more about the show. I want to talk to somebody every week. I want to, you know, be able to, you know, I want to have this whole taste experience of mine be guided by people from the community. You know, I might have just said that I don't like your beer, but you know, you might be the kind of guy who's ready to convince me of it. You know, what are hops, and what hops do we use? Maybe we have alternatives to hops that you put into the beer. Maybe one of those things you put something else other than hops, you know, something that'll add a different smell or something. You know, I'm interested in that kind of thing too. So we'll be experimenting with those kinds of things in small batches, and we'll learn about that. Open my chintzy water brew. So I also want to shout out to Craig Fairway of Craig Tube. I think he's the guy who brings a lot of people into this hobby, and in conjunction with Craig, I think a big part of what he does is put into the 17 Crew forum. So I think, you know, Craig gets a lot of love, so I think that I should probably promote the 17 Crew forum as part of my shout out to Craig, because I think he'd probably appreciate that, because it is a pretty good forum. You know, you talk to some down-to-earth guys, you get some recipes, and you know, if you're having a problem with your brew, just ask the guys, and there's lots of help there. It's a great forum. So my shout out for this week is to Craig Tube and the 17crew.com forum. Cheers. Okay guys, that's enough for this week. Next week we're gonna talk about where our beer's at, if I screwed up on my secondary fermentation or what. Actually, I prefer to screw up on my first batch of beer so I know what it tastes like. You know, I could figure that I'm doing my best work and it was off flavors. Great. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. So share this with your buddies.